नमस्ते सबैजना, मेरो नाम चाहिँ सोहन शाह हो र म माटी चौतारीमा काम गर्छु र आजको यो बुक लन्च इभेन्टमा चाहिँ सबैजना आइदिनु भएकोमा चाहिँ धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। अब हामी चाहिँ फर्मली चाहिँ इभेन्ट चाहिँ सुरु गर्न गइरहेका छौँ र म पहिले भीम सरलाई निम्ति आउँछु। सर स्टेजमा। अनि बुकको 4 जना को एडिटर हुनुहुन्छ, त्यसमध्येमा चाहिँ एडविन ज्यूलाई चाहिँ निम्ति आउँछु।
That's me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. Edwin. Now we are inviting Janet Ashwell and Chandra Sharma and Padma Simkhada sir. Okay, Padam. Okay, so we'll briefly show the book that is going to be inaugurated. So I will request all of the panelists here to show the book so that we will get to see that what is the feel about the book is. Okay, so this book has 3 sections and almost 24 chapters. And when I was counting the co-authors in the book, almost over 3 dozen people have contributed. So you can imagine how much hassle it has gone to prepare this book. So, this book is particularly interested. So there are 3 issues about this book and 3 sections that the book is divided into. First section is why do we need to write? So second section is about how to write, and the third section is much about the processes of writing and publishing. So these 3 aspects, I think it is covered very well in this book, and our panelists will be talking more about it. So first I will invite Edwin to briefly in 5 to 10 minutes about the book, and then after that we will open the floor.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming along. I start with an apology. I start with an apology. Padam, come on. I started with an apology because I wanted slides, and my friend said, no, you can't have slides because you're going to talk for too long. The reason I have slides, it reminds me what I'm going to say. So now I've got a bit of paper in my hand to remind me what to say. So the first thing I wanted to say about the book, it has a long gestation. So I'm a professor of reproductive health research. It took more than 9 months to get this book together. It took us 4 years, bits and pieces on and off. It's been a long process, and in the writing we started changing and adding because the publishing world is changing, the journals are changing, the online distribution is changing, so all that kind of was incorporated in the writing process. The second thing I wanted to say is that we got 3 of the 4 editors here, so Sharada, Prasad, Wasti at the end, Padam and myself, and our 3rd editor is Professor Vanora Hundley in Bournemouth University. She's coming to Nepal in May, but unfortunately she can't be here, so hopefully she can see some of us on Facebook and be part of this celebration. So in terms of the book, you know about the number of chapters, it is truly multidisciplinary. There's people from different social science and health disciplines working together and thinking about the writing process and the submission of articles to academic journals and book chapters and so on. And that is reflecting the reality of research. So most research in health and the growing amount of research in the social sciences is done in teams, often multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary teams, where you get a sociologist, an anthropologist, and a nurse working together, or a health service researcher, a demographer, and a statistician working together. So that reflects in the kind of papers people write and the kind of journals they submit to. It's also international. We've got both Nepali, UK, Dutch, Indian authors, based in the UK, based in the Middle East, one based in America, and then obviously based in Nepal. Many of our contributors are former PhD students, of Padam and I, Nepali PhD students who've done their PhD in the UK and have either come back here or got academic jobs in the UK, and we've got a variety of both of those. And the other thing I wanted to add is a little bit about the need for the book, and I don't want to say too much because I would like to leave it to my colleagues, but academic publishing and writing is something that is ethically important, it is politically important, it's important in terms of the social science aspect of disseminating research. And what is often happening is that people do reasonable research, and this is not just in Nepal, it's anywhere in the world, they do reasonable research and they don't disseminate. You know, they do a lovely bit of research, they interview 17 women in Nawaparasi, or they do a questionnaire with 200 people in Dading, do it to a reasonable quality, and then no one ever knows about it. And that is a shame, but it is also, at one level, unethical, because if you spend your time and someone else's time doing research, you've also got a responsibility to disseminate. Now, you can obviously disseminate in Nepali, which is absolutely fine, but it's a small market, especially in terms of academia. If you go to Nepal journals online, nearly all of them, or if not all of them, are published in English, because you get a much wider audience, especially if you publish open access online. So if we publish a paper in the Nepal Journal of Epidemiology, anybody in the world can read that. And it doesn't really matter whether or not that is in a journal that is based in Nepal, or whether or not that journal is based in the US or the United States or the Netherlands. So over the years, we've been involved in capacity building, academic research capacity building, in terms of writing and publishing. And it started with us publishing small articles on aspects of publishing, and then someone said, you should really bring this together. And we had a discussion with our friends at Social Science Bihar, and they were very enthusiastic and said, yeah, just, there is a market for it. No one has done this, so please do. So today is what you see as the final product. And then really finally, two more things I wanted to say. Really want to say thank you to Khem from Social Science Bihar for his editing and his kind of real diligence in the quality of the production. So thank you very much. And he is mentioned on the, as a contributor on the front page. And then lastly, I would like to mention that it is Padam's birthday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edwin. And now I will invite Chandra ma'am to talk about a book.
Namaskar and good evening to all of you. Respected Chairperson, Professor Bhim Prasad Subedi sir. He is a Chairperson of University Grand Commission of Nepal. And respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. यहाँहरु सबैमा नमस्कार र अभिवादन टक्राउन चाहन्छु. I'll try to go in mixed language so that it will be more easy and more clear. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank all the contributors and editors for bringing up this wonderful book, which is very, very important in the area of research. And as he said that it has 3 sections and 23 chapters, which try to cover all the components. It's a very comprehensively try to cover all the components related to academic writing and publishing. So what I think is that it has started from the very beginning, that how to identify a title, how to write a title. And it also started from the very beginning of the academic writing, like how to write an abstract. So all the sections have been tried to incorporate very, very perfectly, and it's very, very useful. So yesterday I got a glance to look at this book, and fortunately I came to meet my assistant dean of Tribhuvan University Institute of Medicine. And I told that this book is very, very, very useful, that we need to have this book in the academic also, in the colleges. In the colleges where the research program, subject is being taught to the students, like in nursing. Being a nursing professional, I'm a nursing professor, I'm a nurse, and what I say that we do have a nursing subject in bachelor level and also in master's level nursing. So it's a very, very important, and it tries to cover all the chapters from the beginning till the end. And it also focused on the ethical aspects, which is very, very important. And this is very, very important for the new learners, for the learners who have not even, we as experienced researchers, it's very difficult when we try to start to write an introduction, or when we start to write, to make a summary of the literature review, it's very, very difficult. This karanle garda यो एकदमै यति धेरै कम्प्रिहेन्सिभली कभर गरेको छ कि यो विभिन्न विधामा रहेको नट ओन्ली नर्सिङ अरू विधामा पनि जहाँ हामी अनुसन्धान पढ्छौँ त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै टिप्समा छ। यो एकाडेमिक भन्दाखेरि यो चाहिँ किताबी हुन्छ नि, यहाँले हामीले एक्जाम दिनको लागि नट ओन्ली लाइक वी आर ट्राइङ टु गिभ द एक्जाम, लाइक एक्जाममा हुन्छ नि discuss the components of research proposal भन्ला हैन. So it is not focused on the components of the research proposal, but it has given the tips how to write a research proposal, being a PhD scholar or just to have a grant, to get a grant from UGC. Like chairperson is here, so we have been getting a lot of grant from UGC. It's really I would like to thank UGC also for providing and for encouraging the new researchers to get into the research part. त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि यसले यति धेरै कुराहरू कभर गरेको छ कि एकाडेमिकली हामीले जस्तै थ्योरी हुन्छ नि एक्जाममा लेख्नको लागि कभर गर्ने भन्दा पनि प्र्याक्टिकल टिप्सहरू दिएको छ. So how to write a quantitative paper, how to write a qualitative paper, यस्तो किसिमले चाहिँ यसले टिप्समा दिएको छ. र I would really congratulate all the editors, all the contributors and all the authors for putting their efforts to bring this wonderful piece of work in a black and white, so that it would be very, very useful to the people working in the research community, for the people who are, for the new learners, new researchers also. So, यति भन्दै म फेरि पनि यहाँहरु सबैलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु. I would like to thank all of you for providing this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra ma'am, for nice words. And now I will invite Janet to talk about a book.
Thank you. Mapani, namaste, namaskar, sabai jana. And thank you so much for inviting me. I actually contributed very little to this amazing, in my opinion, this is like, I call it, as a person who likes to cook, I call it my recipe book for academic writing, and it's something that you can refer to from time to time. But I was asked by Edwin if I could maybe just give a few minutes, talk for a few minutes about my experience teaching. I live here in Nepal, Sorabarsa, Baseko, Nepalma, and I have also been working in 3 different universities, so I have some experience of teaching research. Actually, I see my boss, my old boss here. Hello, lovely to see you, Mr. Joshi, from AITM. Lovely to see you here. So I'll just explain a little bit about it and set why I think this is such an important tool from my experience. So first of all, I came 16 years ago plus with my husband, and we came to actually do aquaponics, agriculture. I'm not an agriculturalist, we've got a business, Hope Nepal Bioponics. So I thought, what on earth can I do? My background, by profession, I'm a medical librarian, and I worked for a year with United Mission Nepal, and what I did there was actually put together a manual on how to conduct literature searches. And that was very theoretical because there were no students. It was for an INGO, so I thought, okay, now, let's see, does this really work? How is the situation here in Nepal, and how can we apply this, and do I need to tweak it? And so what happened then is I talked to the management at UMN and I said, I need students, I need an academic environment. And they told me, why don't you go and help out at the Lalitpur nursing campus? And so that's where I went, which is in Sanapa. And I said, what can I do? I was a volunteer. I said, what can I do? How can I help? And they said, why don't you assess our library? Have a look at our library, have a look at the books, have a look at the resources, and give some suggestions. And that's exactly what I did. And having in my past, as I said, I'm a medical librarian, I'd worked with NLM, which is the National Library of Medicine in the States, and that creates a database called PubMed. And then after that, or before that actually, I worked in Bournemouth University in the south coast of the UK, and we as well created a database of journal articles called the British Nursing Index. So I was kind of looking around in the library for these so that students could do, there were lots of textbooks, but I didn't see the up-to-date journal articles. So I questioned how, what are they using, and also how do they reference? And basically, I must thank the Bournemouth University head of the library, the director. I got in touch with them and I said, can you give us, it was a sort of income generation project, selling the British Nursing Index throughout UK, and they gave us the print version and the CD-ROM. Back in those days, many of you are very young faces, fresh faces, you're like, what's a CD-ROM? So anyway, that's what we had, and from there on I was able to start trying to implement that manual that I had written. There were a lot of staff doing master's degrees, and there were younger students also having to write term papers. And so really what I had to get down to and maybe tweak a little bit was how to reference more than just books, how to reference all sorts of resources that were available to them, and why they needed to reference, what is the purpose of referencing, and all that is in this book. I mean, I don't need to go on, and this book is, as I said, being a medical librarian, all the doctors used to have little books in their pockets with all the medicines and what to prescribe. Well, this is the one for researchers. It's a bit big for a pocket, but nevertheless, this is the one you need to take around with you everywhere and refer to. And after that, then we moved from Sanapa to Satobato, and I looked down the road, and there I saw AITM, and I went and I knocked on the door with Mr. Basant Joshi, who is here today, and I said, these are my skills, I'd love to help if in any way. And he says, we're actually just now looking for someone who needs to teach research. And I think what my experience was there is that there were two separate programs. One that was run by the Institute of Management from Switzerland, so the syllabus was set by them, a Western syllabus, and the other was Purbanchal University, and that was the Nepali syllabus. And what was striking to me is that I taught on both the same thing, but I was teaching all about referencing and research and the importance of study skills in Term 1 and Term 2 for those students that were on the Swiss-based syllabus. So they were getting these skills and they were developing them over their 2-3 years, whereas I had to wait to the 4th year to teach that to the students that were on the BA Hotel Management. And so the others were developed, as it is, this is really a skill. These are skills. It's not facts and figures, it's skills. And so what I saw is that certain students were benefited over others because of where it fitted in the curriculum. And basically, when I was asked if I could write a bit about it, I came with that sort of information, what was needed, why they needed to reference, and not just reference books and journals, but CDs and websites. And that's basically my contribution, and I hope many of you will be able to find this in your libraries or in your homes. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you, Janet, for wonderful words and advice. So now I will invite Padma sir for reviewing the book as well as now I will invite Professor Bhim sir for commenting on the book. And launching the book formally. And after all, sir.
Thank you. Shall I show it again as a part of launching? Thank you, Shivanji. dignitaries on the dais, and distinguished participants. It gives me great pleasure to be among all of you on this august gathering on such a kind of occasion, releasing the book, Academic Writing and Publishing in Health and Social Sciences. I would like to congratulate editors, 5 editors, and as far as I could count, altogether 44 authors of these 23 chapters included in this book. Most of the things that I was thinking of saying has already been said, so I don't have more to say about the book. What is important is academic institutions, as we say, are meant for production, promotion and dissemination of knowledge and skills. And for that reason, I congratulate the institutions as well, the 4 institutions involved in bringing this book together. It's also an example of working together, an example of collaboration, which as part of University Grants Commission, we always encourage collaboration and collaborative research. Collaboration within nations, collaboration from among nationals, researchers, and then collaboration between universities within the country and outside the country. And I see this is a perfect example of collaboration. As I was going through some of the chapters, unfortunately I could not go to entire detail, but some of those chapters I was going through. I find it written in such a way that it fits everyone. And the contents presented here is really for all levels of academics, a book for all research workers. It talks about, it begins with how to conceptualize an idea, how to think of how to go forward, and then how to think of the titles, and then all the processes. In fact, I find it as a travelogue. It covers entire journey of research from beginning to end. While I was going through some of those chapters, as I said earlier, it reminded me of my old work that I was doing in the 1990s. When I was doing my doctoral research work, when I was trying to write some of the drafts of the chapters, I had a very difficult time. I had a couple of friends who would say that, well, writing is not my cup of tea. I didn't understand what they mean, and now I realize. And at that time I was realizing that writing was not my cup of tea. But then, you try to express, you try to write in words. And then by that time we didn't have that computer, no personal computers. So we have the typewriters. I was very poor on typewriters. I used to write on the pen and paper, on that. When I used to begin to write, it would take me a while to begin. Beginning a sentence, beginning with the word, what to write. And then I used to erase some of these things. And again, what would happen? I would sit down, have a cup of coffee, try to write a few paragraphs. And once I write a few paragraphs, I used to go through it again. And again I find that no, that's not what I meant it. It doesn't express the feeling that I have had. And it reminded, some of the chapters I was going through, it really reminded me of my old journey on research. The other thing that I was facing then was, I was trying to argue I did my research in migration. It's a continuity and change in migration. I was trying to argue that some of those concepts in English are not necessarily providing transnational meanings. We do have indigenous languages, and then there is indigenous conceptualization of migration. I was trying to use the terminology. I think all my colleagues from Nepal, and I understand that most of them speak Nepali, my colleagues here, so they understand Nepali. So I was trying to use two terminologies, Basai Sarai and Gumpir. In English, they used to call migration and circulation. That migration primarily used to mean then permanent migration. And for us, by then my conceptualization was that permanent migration is a kind of connotative. It gives more of a negative meaning rather than positive meaning. Today, things have changed, and we have been looking into migration as much more in a positive way rather than sort of negative way. By then, what we used to think in my society that I come from, it was you do everything to adjust whatever you have. It's only after all the options are exhausted, you choose for leaving the place. Leaving home is not easy. So you really have to carefully think several times, because home means many, many, many things which you really cannot express. So that was then. And I used to talk to my supervisors then when I have some drafts of some of the chapters, and I used to write that. And then my supervisor and supervisory committee would say, where is the reference? Where is the reference? Where is the citation? Where is the term Basai Sarai used in literature? I would be more frustrated than ever before when I hear that. And I used to say, I come from that community. I know it. It's there. It is because it is not written, I am writing it. It took me a long time to convince my supervisory committee that, yes, that those terminologies refer to indigenous conceptualization of migration in Oriental society. So, while I was going through it again, all my frustrations, and then at the end of the day I had to prepare this dissertation. Other thing, as I guess Edwin was talking about, we write, but we don't publish. That's what happened to my dissertation. I wrote it, but I never published it. That's my one of the major blunders in my life. But then, later I published several articles out of that. So I'm not that unhappy on that reason. So what I mean here is, this book is such an important contribution in the area of research writing, academic writing, that it's for everyone, every walks of life in the research journey. So, and at many places, there are very, very good examples, but when you go through it, you will self-realize that it has happened to me, or it will happen to me, or it is happening to me. So that's the best part of it that I said. In health science, I understand someone will prescribe a medicine. In social science, we would say, we would put it in the reference list, required reading for research methodology and research writing. So I think that this is what I have to say on this. I would like to congratulate again all the authors, the editors who have spent such a long time, 3 years or more, more than 3 years, and I can see while I was going through introduction to the authors, 44 authors and their experiences, and that really showed that this is an excellent publication, expression of all the experiences and learnings they have had. Again, congratulations to the authors and readers and the institutions. Together they have done this publication to this point. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhim sir. And listening to Bhim sir, I have a very small note to make. I have one experience of my supervisor, dealing with my supervisor, and then reading this book. Today only I got the book, and then I was reading through, and not all the things, but then just taking a glance over. Then I had two supervisors to deal with, and it's a headache to deal with two supervisors in one thesis. So one supervisor believes that you cannot teach a research to someone, and then he used to give me an example that can you teach someone swimming and bicycle by bringing in class and telling them to read the theories and all these things? It's impossible. So teaching research is impossible, and it's an art, and it has to be done when you do by learning by doing kind of things is the process. Another supervisor thinks that no, you need any skills, you need this, you need that, you reference, you need data, all the kinds of things. And then probably by reading this book, I thought that I would convince my earlier supervisor that okay, there can be some skills that can be imparted, and these kind of books are necessary for the early researchers. So with this note, I will invite Padam sir to give a vote of thanks, and first to talk about a book and then to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for coming this book launching ceremony. Professor Subedi sir, thank you for accepting our request, and Chandra madam, and Janet and other team. I would like to thanks to all the contributors. May I request I can see some of the contributors are here in the forum. May I request you to stand up on behalf of who are contributing on the book? I can see. Please. Yes, thank you. Yeah, as you did mention, we got the colleagues from different part of the world. The history of this book and then our motivation and initiation to start this book come back early 2002 when I started my first job in Aberdeen as a research fellow, and Edwin interviewed me to take on the job. And you can ask that his question was about, can you write, can you publish? And so since then, I got the motivation and working on this field. And then we started working with a number of universities here, colleges here. Both me and Edwin is visiting professor in Nobel College. Thank you, Vanora, for coming on this one. And also we are visiting professor in a number of other institutions. And we do visit the colleges. And every time, and one of the things that we get request from the academics, from the student is, oh, I want to publish, I want to write, but I don't know how to start, where to start. And I can see the energy in the new generation to write and to publish. And then we started writing the different piece of work and publish in the different type of journal. So we publish in a Carpenter University journal and several other journals, how to write the title, how to write the abstract, how to make the poster more efficient way. So those sort of things. And then we thought that, why not we pull them together? And we talked with a number of colleagues, and they all are energetic and want to contribute on this one. And then we started putting them together and become this book. I think as Professor Subedi mentioned, I think the one thing that I would like to request all the academics, staff, and other colleagues, that the academic work, research work is the teamwork. If you want to do yourself, you cannot do it. You need a different type of skill, and we need to work on a team. So you can see that there's 44 people has contributed on these books over the 3 years period of time. Some contributed quite a lot and worked very hard, but there is a contribution, and this is also so we can, if we work together, we can publish, we can write this one. So I hope, again, I don't want to go to each chapter of this book. The other thing is sometimes I heard from the Nepalese colleague that, English is not my first language, or can I publish it, or it's difficult to write English. No, English is not my first language either. So I went there to do the master, did PhD work there, working with the team. And then some people have good English, some people have ideas, some people is good on statistics, some is good on making this one. Some people are very critical, like Suresh, who looked we looked several times, we couldn't pick up the so many mistakes. He picked up those ones during the editing process. So everybody has a different type of skill, and without those combination of skill, we couldn't do it. So again, so if you start, and then you can write it. So anybody has some skill on writing. So everybody has the skill on writing. The thing is, sometimes we don't put the priority because there's so many other the pressure on the work, other priorities, and then publishing sometimes don't get the priority. But if you start writing idea, few pages, and share with the colleagues and make a team and work together, that will work. I hope this will be useful resource for our Nepalese academics colleagues and also the universities and the students. And then again, any feedback, not just the good things. If you have any feedback, you are most welcome to take the feedback and improve that one. It's a continuous learning process, and I'm sure there are so many other things are missing in the book because we try to incorporate several issues, but as Professor Subedi mentioned, we started on thinking about writing and then working as an editor. If you are editor, what are the things that you need to consider? So we ended that journey and we make a one full circle, and I'm sure there are a lot of other things which is not covered in this book, but I hope we can work together again and then publish similar sort of books. And then I can see that there's so many, the scholar writer here, I can see my colleagues, Professor Kasiraj here, who write the book as well. He was a consultant on how to write. So we have a people in Nepal, people like him, and who can contribute and help to the people to write. So it's the matter of making a team working and take the initiation. And again, I would like to thank you all my PhD students who really work hard. And majority of the contributor on this book is the student who did the PhD with me and Edwin and other team. And there are other colleagues as well. So with that note, thank you again, and thank you Social Science Baha, Martin Chaudhary, and Himal Publication for publishing this book and this good, nice, and then the very standard, international standard, I mean, the quality, and then thank you again for joining this and encouraging us to write and to do more work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. And with this book, you have a postcard where all 42 authors' name is there. So please do collect that along with the book. And the book price is 650 rupees, which is not much. Is a okay price to buy and then to take a home or to give it to somebody who needed actually the book, who want to write the article. So with this note, I thank you. I thank everybody in the panel, and now we invite for a tea and high tea. Thank you so much.